Okay, so let me share my screen. All right. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening for folks who joined from different parts of the world. So let's talk about the role of a leader in enabling a meaningful work. So that's the title of today's conversation. My name is Manchunath MS Rao. So nice to meet you all. It's a great forum. Thanks to Vijay and AgileWaters for setting this weekly lean coffee session so that many of us get an opportunity to meet and discuss some interesting topics. So I'm a, transformation, organization agility and leadership agility transformation coach and trainer. So I'm also a partner with AgileWaters. So I do this enterprise agile coaching related trainings, coaching, consulting with AgileWaters. Plus, I have a company called Transformative Lab, which is into enabling individuals and organizations to unlock their true potential. So a little bit background. So I've been in the industry for last 2 decades. Started as an engineer, and then later part of my career, I figured it out that I'm meant to be a more a teacher trainer kind of a person than sitting and doing some technology innovation. So that's where I changed my entire line of operations. So last couple of years I've been closely associated with the multiple organizations, helping them in their lean agile business excellence transformation. So I'm very keen and passionate to work with individuals and teams and leaders in terms of how do we create a better environment to find some meaningful work. And the last couple of years of my experience also led me to this direction where I started thinking about many of us, especially in the role of maybe a coach, trainer, or maybe many of us as a managers, right? People managers. We realize that what we are doing is fundamentally is more like a psychologist kind of a role, touching people life, inspiring them, motivating them, understanding their perspectives, understanding their culture and nuances and stuff like that. That actually led me to pursue my master's in psychology. So as we speak, I'm doing my master's in psychology. I'm in the last semester. So that's a great, transition from being an engineer to MBA graduate to then, moving towards psychology. So this today's session, actually, it's going to be based on my ongoing research topic. So as part of my curriculum, I'm doing my research on a subject of meaningful work. So it's basically I'm trying to do a study of knowledge workers in India. So this subject today is going to be a little bit mix of academics as well as some aspect of practical or what we have seen in the industry. So but the most portion of what you hear is from academic research what is being done by Dr. Michael Stager. So he's a professor of psychology at the University of Colorado. Interestingly, he started research on meaningful life. He started researching about people of various walks of life in various phases of life, especially like if you are in an extreme situation of your life, for example, you're about to die, with some rare diseases and things like that. He started doing what is the real meaning of life for such people, or maybe those who are in the extreme conditions of their work or things like that. In the process, he realized that work plays a very key role in all our life because, as we all know, so we spend a lot of time either doing work for somebody else or working for ourselves, or it could be for earning, it could be for a passion, whatever it is. So the work content or what work we do has a close association with the meaning of what we talk about a meaningful life. So then he did a lot of research about this meaningful work, and he published some research papers, and they did some research in US. And now many of us we are picking up this topic of meaningful work and doing a little bit focused, what you call study in a specific segment or a sector or a country or an area. For example, last year there was a study done in Europe by keeping this meaningful work as a scope. In India, I see that 2 or 3 of us are working on this topic of finding some meaningful work in a knowledge-based industry versus other industry and so on and so forth. So predominantly what we're going to discuss for next 30-40 minutes is going to be around this. So before I start the conversation, so let me hear from you. So have you encountered this word called meaningful work? What do you read from this? Or you had any opportunity to listen to Dr. Michael Steger? He has a TED talk related to meaningful life. In that, he also touched upon this meaningful work as one of the attribute of a meaningful life and so on and so forth. You folks, heard about this meaningful work or anything to add? Are we good to continue? Okay, I see a silence, so probably let me continue for some more time and open up the forum for conversation.
No, basically it would be the karma and dharma, right?
Okay.
Your calling.
Okay.
In a way, and dharma also, like how we want to give back to society. As children and as young adults, we are taking from our parents, our teachers, everybody we take. At one point in time, we have to give back. So that becomes ultimately, like you said, the extreme condition that you're happy. And everybody has to die, but
yeah,
they say, okay, you know what, I did my part of what the gift I got as a life.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good thought. Anything else? All right. So let's talk about, since this is a topic of what we typically call industry psychology or corporate psychology, right? Basically, this is a study of how our environment, our systems and processes and people make a real meaningful work, which attributes to achieving the business outcomes, right? So the biggest puzzle nowadays, most of the leaders face, it is not technology, it is not about the disruptions which is happening in the industry. Of course, though, those matters a lot. Technology is changing, the new age innovations are really disrupting the market. But biggest concern, if you look at for most of organizations and leaders, is all about people engagement. So just before starting this session, Margaret was talking about the great resignation era, right? The leaders have reached to a state where it's not the technology, it's not the something which is bothering them, it's the people and people retention, their engagement, their productivity. How do we hold our best talent? How do we create an environment where we can retain people who can continue to focus and grow the business at the same time they grow? So this has been a biggest puzzle for most of the leadership team. So, and if you start doing a little bit deeper aspect to this, HR, human resource, teams and professionals, they have done a lot of research about, what it takes for people to hold them and retain and things like that. Coming from an organization psychology or a corporate psychology background, so it also emphasizes a lot on this similar aspect, typically what we call how are people seeing the world of work. What is the most important thing, probably if you have to answer ourselves, look at your professional life, look at what you are doing. It could be a business consulting, or working for somebody else, or being part of a corporate, or whatever it is. So what is that most important thing you want out of your job? So this is a question which bothers us, right? Is it the next pay increase? Is it the promotion? Is it the change in the role? Is it the moving towards a new product, new technology, whatever it could be, right? And similar lines, so is it that you want to make more money by doing the same stuff what you are doing, maybe the same role, same technology, same kind of a work what you are doing? So, and many a times we also start asking this question: are there enough opportunity for me to grow and climb up the corporate ladder where I am today, in the same organization, in the same company, or the same field where I'm into? And of course, people also talk about job security and flexibility and so on and so forth, right? So no
But
doubt.
also there is also Maslow's law, right? depending on what stage of life you're in. When we
Absolutely.
started in India, they used to tell us Maslow's law and all. They say, who cares, man? Just give us the money, we want to work and all. But as you mature, you feel, you know what, there's more to work than just work itself. Just might be
Absolutely.
said.
That's
Don't want to
in fact,
overtake your presentation.
absolutely. In fact, I had a similar session last month with another set of people. There we had an interesting conversation. So these things, what we're talking about, meaningful work and retention, productivity, all those stuff is working. Makes sense for maybe a knowledge workers, because we are in that probably the higher state of, as I said, Maslow pyramid of hierarchy, because money or the basic drive is not the stuff. It's not about roti kapda makan or basic.
Yeah, that has been met.
Yeah, so it is like it's about finding that meaningful work and stuff like that. But I kind of uh, did not agree with that. Yes, that is the primary driver, no doubt about it. But even if you look at the so-called very unskilled or lower skilled professions or jobs or organizations, the way to engage even those workers, probably the money may be a main motive, or whatever, it could be the basic elements we take care. But there are organizations and individuals are really driven by some passion. They're really driven by some values, and they continue to do it even if you offer them extra money, extra position, all they don't care, because they find some meaning and purpose behind what they are doing.
Yeah.
So there is of course there is a different side of the spectrum, but
all rules have exceptions. Yeah,
absolutely. So this is the story I wanted to talk about. So when this research work started in an academic terms, meaningful work, it actually started not in the knowledge industry, not in the high tech industries, but on the ground, reality kind of a basic workers kind of profile. There was a situation like this, and somebody asked this guy, what are you doing? There was three set of people doing the same work, and this first guy said, I don't know, so I'm getting paid to break this stone, so I'm doing it, so I don't care what is it for. The second guy, they went and asked the same question to the second guy, and he said, you know what, yeah, they are paying me to do this work, and I am doing it because to take care of my family. Today I'm doing this, tomorrow they ask me to do something else, I don't care, I do it because I want to take care of myself and my family. The same question was asked for another third guy. Again, he had the same situation. He said, yeah, of course I'm doing it to take care of myself and my family, and I'm being paid to do this, but I know the work what I'm doing here, the stones are going to be used to make the biggest cathedral in the town, and it's going to attract thousands and thousands of people eventually once it is built, and it's going to be the landmark in our town, and it's going to be a nice place for all of us to visit and stuff like that. So the work is same, but the way the individual is looking at the work or finding the meaning behind that, or maybe connecting the dot, what we typically call, varies from probably from individual to individual, right? That is where I see leaders who are engaging these people to get some work done play a crucial role in terms of what we typically call purpose driven, right? Finding some meaning or a purpose or clarity behind why we are doing certain things. So that brings us to the conversation about actually the power of meaningful work. What is the meaningful work? So the meaningful work is something which gives kind of a satisfaction and some kind of a performance for individuals as well as for the organizations. So there's a lot of research, as I said, has been done, and one of the recent survey from HBR, it shows 9 out of people in US, they are willing to earn less if they are offered to do more meaningful work. And this fact, in fact, this has been my experience as well, because I used to do a lot of this corporate campus to corporate programs, onboarding and all those stuff as a trainer and facilitator. So I asked you this question: hey guys, why did you decide to join this organization when you had multiple offers as a freshers and this thing? Most of them, they came with either a brand or the name or a product or product house or whatever the reason. And I used to ask them, okay, imagine that I come and offer you some 5x salary than what you are doing. Would you join me? So many of them, yes, they said yes. As Margaret said, we don't care, we are in the initial phase of life, just make some money and get some experience, and then later we'll figure it out kind of a mode. But few of them, they ask, okay, what technology are you into? What work you are into? What organization are you into? That really made me to think, it's not just, just because you're getting some 5x money, you want to do it. And I said, you know what, I am running some underground, some kind of unethical business, and I want few hackers to help me to do some kind of some work which is really crucial, but not in the right interest of the community. But I'm going to pay you because this work involves a lot of money, stealing or whatever it is, right? Many of them said, no, we don't want to do it, even if you're getting less. So that means many a times it is, though the money is the primary motive or driving factor for sure, but it's beyond the money, right? Which is being kind of proven again and again and again. So from that word, when they started doing a little bit insights into what is happening, as we saw from the previous example, right? Many of us as individuals, we bring a sense of meaning to the work. We go to the place and we make the people and surrounding also a little bit, more, enjoyable and meaningful. And as they say, right, people leave bosses, not organizations. So if boss or, your manager or your leader and the team is really have that sense of passion and motivation, and you're finding some purpose and meaning, they stick around and do it. On the other contra, there are organizations who comes out with a lot of innovative and creative ideas and environment, or what we call culture, and meaningful workplace, basically, where people will become an integral part of it. Though I as an individual not so much motivated, or don't not be a visionary or whatever it is, but because of that culture and the influence, or the connecting the dot, what we typically call, that makes people to really find some meaningful work and move ahead. For example, I don't know how many of you know about this Dave Lagon's bread factory story. Have anybody heard about this in US? What are they into and why it is becoming a so popular name in the purpose driven organization? Anybody?
No.
Okay, Vijay or anybody in the call, you want to talk about Dave Lagon's story? If you have heard about, what are they into, why they are so famous? All right. So basically, this organization is into offering second innings for people. When I say second innings, they hire, they train, and retain people who have a criminal background. So most of the organizations, if somebody comes from a criminal background, they usually don't hire people because of whatever reason, right? It could be their policy or whatever. So these guys saw that many of the people who are returned from the jail, they would have done some crime in the life because of some reason. It could be a personal, or that moment of the anger or whatever would have led into some problems. And many of these guys let go because of their good conduct in the prison. And the moment they come out, they find it very difficult to find job because nobody will hire them, right? And this guy thought, why don't I hire them and give them an opportunity? So they started making bread, and their statement says, we make bread to give life for these people. So, and most of the people who work there, they are so attached to the company and purpose and mission, because it's giving them second innings or in life. So they're so close-knit company, they own it like their own company and do it. So that means to say, many organizations that create that bonding, create that sense of purpose, so that people stick to it, people stay there, and people grow the business as if their own business and things like that. So essentially, what we are talking about is a three key component, positive meaning in work, meaning making through the work, and greater good motivation, what is in it for us, kind of a thing. So if we have to dissect this into a little bit deeper aspect, of course, we all talk about purpose-driven organization. Purpose is key, start with why and all those stuff, which is essentially, right, what we say purpose, and everything else is minimal. But this purpose is sometimes, a kind of loosely used word. Whereas when we say a purpose, it not literally means by a purpose, but it consists of many other things. It could be a decent salary, the belongingness, psychological safety, autonomy, recovery, individual recognitions, fairness, good leadership, value, and personal, role fit, and so on and so forth. So when you see a combination of many of these elements are taken care in an organization, people tend to love their job, they find a meaningful work and they stick to those organizations and so on and so forth. So in a way, the three layers or three models of what the Stagger talks about in his research is classically the same thing. Work that feels meaningful, the work that is more harmony with and helps providing meaning to one's personal life, as well as provide an opportunity to benefit them as well as for the greater research. Okay, so this is exactly what. So far what we talked about is a very theoretical part. Like we talk about psychological safety, right? This is a good thing, but how do you measure it? Like meaningful work. So far it's good, but how do you measure it? Of course, that is the research part which is taken care by Stagger and team. So what they did is they have come out with something called as work and meaningful inventory assessment tool. So it consists of 10 questions. So, and based on these three elements, degree to which people find their work to be having significant impact and purpose, contribution, and desire to make one work, positive contribution to the greater good. So based on these elements, they have created a 10 questionnaire survey. And once we answer this and tally our answer to the universal benchmark which these guys have established over a period of time by doing a lot of research, so you'll be able to figure it out as an individual. Are you finding really meaningful in your work? And when we do this for an organization level, we will be able to extrapolate and say, on an average, is this organization having a right culture and a right environment where people are finding a meaningful work in that organization? So to do this, what I would do is I will request you to fill a small survey. It's going to take around 10 minutes. Probably you can do it in your free time. But what I will do is I'm going to, just give me a minute. I'm going to share my screen and are you all with me so far?
Yes.
Any questions?
Yes. No questions, but yes, we are with you.
Super. Thank you. Okay, so I'm sharing that screen. Okay, so this is the questionnaire which came out of our research. As I said, it has fundamentally 10 questions. So a work can be a different meaning for different people, right? So we need to ask ourselves, and how do you really look into this and answer yourself? So I have found really a meaningful career, right? You can rate yourself absolutely untrue, true, or this thing. So if you have a paper or a pen in handy, maybe you can start noting it down, and towards the end I can give you a result and you can compare with. Of course, I have sent this Google form, so this also has the same questionnaire with an additional set of fields to capture your name and a couple of other details, which will help me in my research project, which is an ongoing project. So the second question is, I view my work as contributing to my personal growth. Do you see whether your work is really helping you to grow as an individual? Is your work really makes, my work really makes no difference to the world? So whatever you are doing, is it really helping, the overall world to be a better place or better? Could be some real meaning. I understand how my work contributes to my life meaning. So what is the meaning you have in your life? I have a good sense of what makes my job meaningful. I know my work makes a positive difference to the world. My work helped me to better understand myself. I have discovered work that has a satisfying purpose. My work helps me to make sense of the world around me. The work I do serves a greater purpose. So these are the 10 questions. And of course, the rating is absolutely untrue to absolutely true, the rating scale of 1 to 5. So once you answer it, so there is a scoring instruction which is being given. So I can share this document, post this session. So while there are certain criteria to be there to evaluate, and once you do this, you'll be able to see and do the extrapolate of your thing. Low scores means what? High scores means what? Medium scores means what? So this can be used either for doing at an individual level, or as I said, it can be used to do at a team level or a functional level or particular group level or maybe at an organization level. However, make a note that since this is a academic research project, plus you can use this for your individual research, but if you want to use it for commercial purpose, we need to take a permission from Mr. Stagger, because there are if you're planning to use it for your consulting purpose and not business purpose, so there is a license fees attached to this. So so my request is, please take some time to fill this survey. Towards the end of the survey, I have asked this question: if you would like to get the survey questionnaire as well as result coming out of the survey, so please do indicate your email. I'll be happy to share this report. Probably I'm going to publish this report in a month about overall summary. So far I got around 100 data points from different walks of people. I'm still continue to reach out to people, and my request is to share this with your known people, so that the more data points is there, it helps us to come out with a better conclusion in the research.
So you put the link in the chat. That's the link, right?
Absolutely, yes. I put in the chat window. Thanks for that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So now we may be wondering why to worry about this impact of meaningful work. Why do you think this meaningful work contributes to an better business outcome, or whatever you want to call it? What parts? Why do you think? So far we talked about meaningful work, which consists of it's not just the work culture, but the content and the compensation and the culture and the career growth and leadership, and it's a package, right? Why do you think this is essential, and why it is becoming more and more critical in this post-COVID era? Any thoughts to share?
Great resignation.
To avoid the great resignation. All right. What else?
Yeah, because I think 100,000 people, no, like 1 million people died in the US. So everybody's saying there's more to work than just working 60 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
People died overnight.
Absolutely. You're right. I mean, that's what exactly the research also says. People are willing to make less money, but give me something which is meaningful. I don't want those stressful.
They want to work from home, spend time with their families, see their children grow.
Themselves.
You go to office, you come home, your children are still sleeping, and life goes on. Yeah, it's finished almost.
Absolutely. Yeah, true. And what is also interesting is it has also opened up multiple types of work where you can still find meaningful at the same time financially fulfilling kind of a thing. So that is becoming a big thing. So even the research data shows, so this is a good predictability. If you establish some mechanism as a coach or a trainer or a leader, as a manager in your organization, to get this pulse of meaningful work on your ground. You call it, as many organizations call this, through employee satisfaction surveys and all those stuff, but usually those are very specifically focused on the content of the work. But what we are talking about is not just the content, but the overall environment and surrounding and culture and so on and so forth. So if we are doing this kind of an study often as part of the organization routine stuff, this will give you a good indication of a job satisfaction, good prediction of job satisfaction. The another better predictor could be the absenteeism, right? If people are really liking the work, they're finding it more meaningful, they will love to come, as we typically talk about the Monday blues, right? So many of us don't feel like going to the office Monday. Oh man, this is another Monday, the same routine starts kind of thing. But whereas if a person has really found some meaning in the work, so a person will be really enthused to go to office, or maybe start working on that on a Monday morning, because it's a new start and a new challenge and stuff like that. So higher engagement and productivity, alignment and collective achievements and so on and forth, which is there. And what is also interesting, which I have found in the course of all this research in the last couple of years, is our personality type plays a very key role when it comes to the work. Many of us go in the flow, software developer is being, data science is being paid high. Okay, I should be a data scientist. No, if you are a creative person, and if your analytical kind of abilities are way lesser than probably more creative kind of a person, you would struggle even when you take the highest paying job, because your nature, your personality, your intelligence, but typically what we call it as 8 intelligence, all of us are born with, or we grow with, and we to a certain level, once we reach it, it builds to a certain level, right? And if we are doing our choose a work, and we do a certain work which is aligned with this intelligence as well as personality type, we tend to enjoy a more. What we typically, you would have read this book of Ikigai, where they also talk about the same thing, find something which is meaningful and purpose driven, which also pays at the same time, takes care of your personality and stuff like that. Because otherwise, in this mad rush, we tend to, get into the trap. We get ourselves stressed, we ourselves get into unnecessary troubles, and whatever we earn, end of the day, we spend it for gaining our health back, right? So I think that should not happen. That's where this deeper understanding and a little bit of reflection about the work and meaning and all the stuff plays a key role. So now the question is, how do we enable individuals as well as organizations to take care of this meaningful work? So for individual level, the author, Dr. Stagger, actually talks about a model called SPIRE model. So this is something which we were talking about so far. Find your strength, know your unique talent, know your unique capabilities. This is where, finding your own mentor or a coach, going through some of the personality type assessment. It could be psychometric assessment, or it could be, there are different ways of doing the psychometric or psychological assessment. If you are keen and interested, so let me or Vijay know. So we do have partner with some of specialists in this area, and we do help many individuals as part of their overall career counseling and mentoring. We do get them, help them to get this personality assessment done, and what are your strengths and how you should move ahead and things like that. And personalization. So this is very key, because I have seen some of the people, the work will be very minimal, or it would be like very tactical. There's no fun in doing those work, but the individual who is playing the role makes it so meaningful, makes it so interesting. Few simple example, if I have to quote, would be, there is a guy called Otto Anna in Chennai. I don't know how many of you know him. He's like talk of the town. He's being now quoted as an example in design thinking and customer centric thinking example. He runs an auto like any other auto in India. But what is special about him is his auto is super different. He keeps all the newspapers and magazines.
Yeah, we read about him in Google.
Absolutely. So
I got to sign up. You can't sign him up. He's got waiting list to hire. Yeah.
And people are crazy, and they book him advance for 1 month or 2 month appointment to just travel in his auto. See, look at, it's yet another simple, running an auto, but he's doing it with a personalization, right? Another classical example is our Mumbai Dabbawalas. I don't know how many of you know. They make 10 to 15,000 or 20,000 per month. But look at the value system, their belief system, that getting that home cooked food to an individual is considered as a divine thing, and it's like that value kind of a connected. So if they do some other work, probably they make more money in Mumbai, but they're so attached to that their thought process and their belief system and personalization. They love doing what they're doing. And of course, I don't have to tell, it's an hardware case study with the Six Sigma kind of an
with Harvard, yeah.
So Six Sigma kind of an operation. So what I'm talking about is, it's again a system. The overall Dabbawalas ecosystem is a system plus individual. Those who are part of it, they are bringing their personalization to their work, kind of a thing, right? The third example, if I want to talk about, is you would see some of those doctors, who, if you would have stayed in the corporate world, they would have made millions and millions, but they decide to go to remote part of the countryside and help those individuals to come out of the situations and things like that. So like that, you will have many of those minimal work, but people really make it meaningful, because they tend to find that purpose in what they're doing. And integration, of course, integration in terms of job, resonance and expansion. Basically, this all talks about we need to find ourselves. What do we really like to do? What is our core strength? What is in it for me? Finding that ikigai and align that thing, and on a long run, so ensure to follow this so that you want to enjoy a meaningful work which leads to a meaningful life. What is also interesting is in this entire stuff what we were talking about from the beginning, the great resignation era and all those stuff, leaders are finding it very difficult in terms of engaging people, creating a meaningful culture and meaningful work. So there's no magic. This is again and again all leadership coaching and trainings and programs, and all the Harvards of the world, every Forbes of the world, everybody talks about leaders play a very key role in shaping the culture of the organization. So I am part of a group called Agile Leadership Journey, where I and around 50 coaches and trainers across the world, we work with the top industries and corporate leadership team to enable them and their next level to create a culture, because leaders shape the culture, and in turn when the culture is shaped, the rest everything is taken care in the organization. So as part of this training and coaching assignment, we get to do many of these cultural survey assessments, 360-degree assessment for leaders, and so on and so forth. And if you are keen to learn more about this Agile Leadership Journey, and this program is entirely aligned with our Scrum Alliance Certified Agile Leadership course, CAL course, what we talk about. So by the way, we have some upcoming workshop lined up in the month of August. If you are interested, talk to me or Vijay or AgileWaters team. We should be able to give you some more details on that. So essentially, even in that program, we help leaders to enable themselves first and then their organization through smaller experimentation related to processes and policies and metrics, so that in a medium to long run, what we are intending to do is create an environment or a culture where people can find this meaningful work by through a clarity, giving a clear vision and organization mission and the structure which is which is built into an agility kind of a thing. Authenticity, be open, to walk the talk kind of a thing, right? So when leaders do this, people love that, and they stay back. I have seen many of my friends who have stayed in a couple of organizations for 15 years. I know they are making probably 1/3 or 1/4 of the salary many of my other team members are, other classmates are making, but they are very happy because of whatever, that culture and that purpose and connectedness and things like that. So respect, I don't have to talk about this. This is the basic fundamental human thing, and agility especially it talks a lots and lots about being human-centric organization and respecting each other and mattering, giving credit to the people, and helping people to do, and autonomy, of course, letting people choose, give a sense of direction, give a sense of clarity, and people should be able to get better results. We don't have to do a micromanagement to get the things done. This is in a nutshell. Of course, as a leaders, we can play a very key role to enable that environment, enable that culture where this meaningful work can be found. In fact, what I know is many organizations, the leaders are so crucial in terms of having those what we call crucial conversation. They make the intent and vision and purpose very clear and let teams figure it out. And you see most of those organizations are very creative and innovation in things. So the leaders doesn't set the direction of as to how the things has to happen, but rather a big meaningful, what we should be doing it. And the teams get so aligned and passionate, and the innovation will flow in naturally. There's no secret sauce that you bring in the high talented people and everything will happen. No. So it's always the combination of many of these elements what we put together. That's something which I have found in my last couple of years of experience and research and my tenure. With that, I would like to stop here, because as I said, 70% of the content what I talked about is purely from an academic background, the research based on the Dr. Stegner and my findings as part of this research and my study. As we speak, I'm collecting this data and doing some more insightful. I am interested and curious to know about knowledge workers in India, the same great resignation era, which is also we are going through in India. Is it leading to many what we call a gig economy, right? more and more people are finding interest to start their own startup and being a freelancers and consultants or entrepreneurs and things like that. At the same time, there are organizations which are able to really hire, retain talent, and grow on a continuous basis. So what's really happening is behind this science is this element of human and human psychology. So thanks so much for this opportunity and listening to me. So I would love to, you're welcome to share your feedback or feed forwards so that it helps me to improve my research as well as my connect with you. And I would like to stop here and maybe open the forum for key takeaway. What was the key takeaway for you? Was it useful? What did you find it? And any insights which helped you to take it forward?
So Manjuna, this was very good, but it's not always ideal. Oh, because I like this place, I have to stick around.
Yeah.
Don't fall for the security.
Yeah.
I always tell myself, because I work as consultant. Only when you step out, you'll feel, oh my God, this is much better. So you know what? Because you have to see yourself as a light. Okay, I've lit this organization. Where else can I, go for, help them? So like falling for the security is not the ideal thing. Oh, you're enjoying a company, you stay there. Not necessary. You don't just leave out of frustration. You also leave to develop yourself. I don't know. This concept is not really standard. You say, you're getting good salary, you have everything. Why you want to leave? No, I still want to leave. I like.
Yeah, I would say it is again what we typically in psychological world we call it as a mindset. What we typically also call psychological safety or how do I? So
yeah, North America, one thing is good. You go, you can come back. I don't know about India so much. They say, "Arey chhod ke gaya, abhi kya hai wapas." But you know what? Many people they say, okay, and they appreciate that. At least you went and tried something. You had the guts to do it. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that cultural difference is there. Plus, it's all about that mindset. Back of the mind, we always have that security, whatever you call it as job security or psychological safety. Or many of us, what we typically tease, right? If you don't love your job, so take a home loan and you will start loving your job because
correct. And like most, even when I worked for the longest time all my life, I always look. No, people are looking for cushy jobs. Like like it has to be cushy. Oh, I should get high pay, low work, and that. I mean, it's not that. Like go for the ones where there's a challenge. You'll develop yourself. You'll develop the company, and you'll really feel okay. I earned that money that I got paid. It's just another way of thinking.
Absolutely.
Just my 2 cents. I don't want to take your hijack.
There's no right or wrong here, right? It's all about, as I said, it's a great research topic for me because this is also, as I said, it helped me to connect the personalities, right? How I look at the things. Right?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So till the time you develop yourself, you cannot do this kind of thinking. They'll say, "Arey pagal hai," like, "Oh, she's mad or he's mad. Or what are you doing?" And all. But then that's another way of not falling with the security. Seeing how best you can contribute.
I understand that. Chaitrali, what is your thoughts after hearing?
Yeah, I actually the Margaret just said that to develop, time needs to develop this kind of a mindset. And I feel that I'm right now, starting off that mindset. I'm actually not at that level where I will say, okay, everything is okay for me. Just I'm just looking for meaningful work. I'm not in that state of mind or stage, I would say. But yes, I really like to grow in that sense. I feel at the end satisfaction is more important and then peaceful life. So for that, yes, I actually like the spire that you mentioned. I noted down that. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Yes, Jai Kirat. Yes, Kirat.
I would also share one example. Indira Nooyi, who was the former CEO of PepsiCo. She was the architect of this performance with purpose program. Yeah, so the aim was to put environmental goals and other things and the customers and also the employee well-being. So, and that program was really a great program.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I always think, I mean, this, I have never really voiced this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really all good for Indrani of, she studies in Chennai and all, but I'm saying,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
would you work for a company like PepsiCo? Like, it has like, how many, 300, how many, 400 grams or something of sugar in one sip. It's totally deterrent to your health.
Yeah,
Which
but
can
later on
actually,
they changed. No? They were considering the health because people were becoming quite health conscious. So they
Yeah.
changed their agenda later on.
no,
Yeah.
they made it
Well,
like, it's a
because
diet Coke is a diet Pepsi is worse than the original Pepsi. So, and you go to that company, like I would say, no, I don't even want to work for this. No, I'm just thinking, I always think that, you know what, oh,
So
you are
you are
all
also
that.
finding a meaning.
And you chose to work for a company that actually makes people obese, which has so many 40 grams of sugar in one sip of drink. And you're actually
you know
promoting
what?
that to your,
No,
you want to increase our sale. No, this is, I've never really said that to anybody, but inside my heart, I'm always saying, oh my God, you know what, just my 2 cents.
yeah, that's anyway, that's the reality of life, right? The other day I was saying, like, I have a huge investment in ITC stock. So whenever I go with some of my friends who smoke, right, I say, okay, I encourage them, okay, go and smoke because my stocks are going. Every cigarette you smoke, right?
But
But as a
ITC has
well-wisher,
hotels and so
and a
many things.
friend, as a well-wisher and friend, I know this is not good for your health. Please stop it, kind of thing. So, so in typically even in leadership agility, we have this something called as ambivalence model, right? Both extremes are not good. You know, both side of any, you take any topic, you see that the extremities are always bad, right? And many a times the reality as well as the meaning lies somewhere in between, and we typically call it as a gray area, right, or a shaded area. So that's always there. That's always there. All right. So just Kirat, you have any thoughts before we wind up for today? And of course, I would like to hear from you, Mr. Wade, who Mr. Vijay has been a thought leader in this space, and I know he's so fond of this topic of people development, and you know, a lot of things are happening. I see that maybe network is not stable at Vijay's side, on and
Yeah,
off.
yeah. Is rejoined.
Hey Vijay, can you hear us? You have any thoughts? Final wisdom before we
Yes,
close the session?
I was actually in and out because of the internet issue.
Yeah.
So I won't be able to comment much. But
Okay.
definitely this is topic of my interest.
I understand. So this will be a good topic for our next get together. Don't worry, I will bug you.
Sure.
All right. So